My dear friend, I've lived along 80 years, and if there's one thing I've learned, it's that the choices we make after 60 aren't just about taste or preference anymore. They're about survival, energy, and whether you're going to keep dancing in your living room at 75 or end up groaning every time you bend to tie your shoelaces. And you know what's funny? Something as simple as the kind of milk you drink can be a game changer. Now you might laugh at me. Milk, Paul? Out of all the things in life to worry about, you're sitting here telling me milk is important? Oh, yes, friend. I used to laugh at it too. Back in my younger days, I thought milk was milk. You had a cow, you squeezed it, you drank it, and you went about your day. But now, at my age, I see it clearly. Some milks heal you, and some drag you faster toward the grave. Let me take you back to when I was 65. I was stubborn, thought I knew it all. My daughter had just started pestering me about switching to plant-based milks. She'd say, "Dad, oat milk is better for your cholesterol," or "almond milk won't make your stomach ache." And I'd laugh, roll my eyes, and say, "I've been drinking cow's milk since before you were born, and I'm still standing, aren't I?" But then the signs started. My knees ached like rusty hinges every morning, my stomach puffed up after a glass of milk, and my heart, well, it felt like it was carrying a heavier load than it used to. I went to my doctor, and do you know what he said? "Paul, sometimes the foods that served you in your youth turn against you in old age, milk included." That was the first time I realized something as innocent as a glass of milk could be plotting against me. So, here I am, talking to you like a good friend because I don't want you to learn it the hard way. After 60, your body changes, and milk can either be your best ally or your sneaky enemy. And believe me, the wrong choice will creep up on you like weeds in a garden. You don't notice them at first, but soon enough they choke out everything good. Now let me share with you the milks you should welcome into your kitchen and the ones you should kick out as if they're troublemakers at your doorstep. And I'll tell you stories along the way because you know me, I can't just give you facts without a little laugh or a little heart-to-heart. The first milk I discovered in my journey was oat milk. I'll never forget the first time I tried it. I thought it would taste like watered-down oatmeal, like something a lazy chef would pour into a bowl. But when I sipped it, I was surprised. It was smooth, creamy, and gentle. What really shocked me was how my stomach reacted. No bloating, no discomfort, no gas that could blow a hole in the living room wall. I thought, well, that's new. Then I learned it's not just gentle, it's powerful. Oat milk is full of something called beta-glucans. Fancy name, but what it does is even fancier. It helps lower cholesterol. Think of them as tiny scrub brushes sweeping out the gunk from your arteries. And friend, after 60, keeping those arteries clean is as important as keeping your reading glasses clean. Without it, nothing works right. Now here's a funny story. My neighbor Joe, stubborn old fella, once saw me pouring oat milk into my coffee. He laughed so hard I thought he'd choke. He said, "Paul, you've gone soft. Next thing I know, you'll be drinking kale juice with a straw." 2 months later, he found me out in the garden, squatting down to plant tomatoes without groaning, while he could barely bend to tie his shoes. Guess what he drinks now? Oat milk. I should start charging him royalties for introducing it to him. Then there's goat's milk. Oh, don't make that face. I know it sounds odd, but let me tell you, goat's milk is gentle on the stomach, easier to digest than cow's milk. When I was in my 70s, I went through a period where every time I drank cow's milk, I'd get cramps and gas that could send the dog roaming out of the room. Switching to goat's milk was like walking out of a noisy bar into a peaceful meadow. No upset stomach, no bloating, just calm. What makes goat's milk special is that its fat globules are smaller, easier for the body to handle, and it's loaded with calcium and magnesium, which if you're like me, you desperately need for those brittle bones. I used to joke that goat's milk saved my marriage, because once I switched, my wife finally got a break from my nightly trumpet concerts under the sheets. She said, "Paul, Keep drinking that goat's milk or you're sleeping outside with the dog. And almond milk. Now that's another gem, but only if you buy the unsweetened kind. Don't be fooled by those fancy flavored ones that taste like a candy bar in a carton. Those are sugar bombs in disguise. The unsweetened almond milk, though, is like a gift from the heavens. Low in calories, free of cholesterol, and often fortified with calcium and vitamin D. That's like giving your bones and your heart a little kiss every morning. I'll be honest, the first time I tried almond milk, I thought it was too thin. But then I noticed something. My coffee didn't taste heavy, my cereal felt lighter, and best of all, my pants started fitting a bit better. At 80, when you can still slip into your old jeans without holding your breath, that's a victory worth celebrating. Of course, we can't forget soy milk. Now, soy is a bit of a controversial fella. Some people love it, some say it messes with hormones. But here's what I know. Soy milk is rich in protein and it has compounds called isoflavones that might just help with brain health. And at our age, keeping the brain sharp is worth its weight in gold. I started drinking soy milk when I realized I was forgetting little things, like where I left my keys or the name of that actor in the movie I had just watched. Within a few months, I felt sharper. Was it the soy? Was it me paying more attention? Who knows? But I'll take every advantage I can get. Now that's the good side of the story. But my friend, there's a dark side too. And if you don't pay attention, you'll fall into traps that can make your golden years a lot less golden. Let's start with flavored milks. Oh, they look so innocent. Chocolate milk, strawberry milk, like a little trip back to childhood. But here's the truth. They're nothing but sugar bombs wearing milk's clothing. I used to love a cold glass of chocolate milk before bed. Made me feel like a boy again. But then I saw the sugar content, enough to make a dentist rich for life. After 60, that kind of sugar doesn't just add pounds. It adds inflammation, messes with your joints, and spikes your blood sugar like a roller coaster. Then there's whole cow's milk. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved it once too. It built my childhood, gave me strength, and kept me going through my working years. But after 60, that saturated fat is no longer your friend. It clogs your arteries and raises your risk of heart problems. It's like an old buddy who's fun at parties, but bad news in real life. At some point, you have to say, thanks for the memories, but it's time we part ways. And finally, the worst of the bunch, condensed or evaporated milk. I used to pour condensed milk into my coffee every morning, thinking it was harmless. But that thick, syrupy sweetness is diabetes in a can. Once I quit, my blood sugar stabilized, and I felt more alive than I had in years. Now, let me stop here for just a moment, because if you're still listening to this old man ramble, I know you care about your health, and I care about you more than you might think. So do me a little favor. If this conversation is giving you something valuable, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so we can keep walking this path together. You never know. The little tip you share might just save someone else's life. All right, back to it, because this isn't just about what kind of milk to drink. It's about building habits that keep you strong and vibrant well into your 80s and beyond. So where were we, friend? Ah, yes. I was saying this isn't just about what kind of milk you pour into your glass. It's about something far bigger. At our age, every choice we make has ripples. Every sip, every bite, every laugh, even every nap. It all adds up, like tiny drops filling a bucket. And one day, you either find that bucket overflowing with strength or leaking away your health drop by drop. Milk was my wake-up call, but what it taught me was much deeper. We can't keep living as if we're still 30. Our bodies change, and so must our habits. When I was younger, I could drink whole milk by the gallon, shovel down burgers, and stay up till midnight watching ball games. Now, if I stay up past 10, my body punishes me for 2 days. You too? Thought so. I remember this one evening, maybe 10 years ago. My granddaughter was over, and she wanted hot chocolate. I reached for the condensed milk like I always did, poured it into the pot, and stirred it up. She looked at me, wrinkled her nose and said, "Grandpa, do you know how much sugar is in that?" I laughed and said, "Sweetheart, sugar keeps the wrinkles away." But deep down, I knew she was right. That very night, I woke up with a pounding heart, sweating, my blood sugar all over the place. That was the last time I ever touched condensed milk. Sometimes wisdom doesn't come from age. It comes from a 10-year-old calling you out. Switching to better milks didn't just help my stomach or my bones. It gave me back a little freedom. With oat milk, I could enjoy my morning coffee without worrying about gas that would scare the cat. With almond milk, I felt lighter, like I wasn't dragging around a sack of potatoes. With goat's milk, my digestion calmed down so much that I started sleeping better. And with soy milk, well, at least I could still beat my son at chess without forgetting where I'd put my queen. But friend, let me tell you something. Habits are stubborn. Even when you know what's good for you, that little voice in your head whispers, "Come on, 1 glass of chocolate milk won't hurt." And maybe it won't. But 1 glass becomes 2, 2 becomes a habit, and before you know it, you're back in trouble. That's why I had to make rules for myself. I told myself, "Paul, your fridge is a safe zone. Only the good stuff goes in." That way, when the cravings hit, at least the wrong choices weren't sitting there waiting to tempt me. And it worked. Slowly but surely, my body started thanking me. My knees stopped protesting every time I got out of bed. My heart didn't race after coffee. I had more energy to play with the grandkids. Even my skin looked better, which my daughter said made me look less like an old raisin. Now that's a compliment, isn't it? You know, my friend, I've always believed health isn't just about living longer. It's about living better. What good is reaching 80 if you're too tired to enjoy it? I'd rather have 10 strong years than 20 miserable ones. And choosing the right milk might sound small, but small steps carry us further than giant leaps we can't sustain. Let me give you a little story. A neighbor of mine, Margaret, she's 72, lovely woman, full of life, but she had a bad habit of drinking flavored milks every night. Said it was her way of ending the day sweetly. Well, one day she collapsed in her kitchen. Turns out her blood sugar was out of control. The doctor told her to cut the sugar or cut her years short. That shook her. She called me over, tears in her eyes, and asked me what she could do. I told her about the changes I made. Oat, almond, goat, soy. Now, months later, she's walking around the neighborhood again, smiling, lighter on her feet. Sometimes saving your life starts with saving your fridge. Now, let's get personal. I'll confess something to you, friend. In my 70s, I struggled with loneliness. My wife had passed, the kids were busy with their lives, and evenings felt long. And you know what comforted me? A warm glass of milk before bed. But if I chose the wrong kind, I'd wake up with acid reflux, or worse, I'd feel sluggish the next day. So I started experimenting with different milks, making little bedtime rituals. Warm oat milk with cinnamon, almond milk with a touch of turmeric, goat milk with honey. It wasn't just about nutrition. It became an act of self-care, something gentle to end the day, a reminder that even alone, I could still treat myself kindly. Funny how life works. You think you're just drinking milk, but really you're learning to listen to your body, to care for it like an old friend. And isn't that what we should all be doing after 60? Listening, adjusting, caring? Now, let me tell you the biggest change I noticed after switching. My energy. At 80, energy is like gold. You can't waste it. Before, I'd get tired after a short walk. Now I can stroll through the park, feed the ducks, and still have enough pep left to play cards in the evening. And let me tell you, beating my buddy Joe at poker is worth every sip of almond milk I've ever taken. You see, friend, aging gracefully isn't about pretending you're young. It's about respecting where you are and making choices that give you the best possible today. And believe me, you deserve the best today. If I could go back and tell my 60-year-old self one thing, it would be, Paul, stop being so stubborn. Your body is whispering to you, listen before it starts screaming. That's what milk taught me, to listen, to notice how foods affect me, to to make little changes that add up to a big difference. And now, I want you to promise me something. Don't just nod and say, "That's nice, Paul." Try it. Look at the milk in your fridge. Ask yourself, is this helping me or hurting me? And then make the switch. It won't take long before you feel the difference. I remember when I finally replaced that last can of condensed milk in my pantry, it felt symbolic, like I was closing a chapter and opening a better one. And every morning since, I've woken up grateful, not just for another day, but for a body that still works hard for me, as long as I take care of it. So, my dear friend, let's raise a glass of oat milk, almond, soy, or goat, take your pick, and toast to the years ahead. May they be strong, joyful, and filled with laughter. Because at the end of the day, health isn't just about what you avoid. It's about what you create. Energy, connection, and little moments that make life sweet. And if you've been with me through this whole ramble, thank you. It means more than you know. Let's keep sharing, keep learning, and keep choosing wisely. And don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep walking this journey together. Because the more we share, the stronger we all become. Now let me end with a little secret recipe. Every night before bed, I warm a cup of oat milk, sprinkle in a pinch of cinnamon, stir it slowly, and sip it in silence. It calms my heart, soothes my mind, and helps me drift into sleep like a baby. Try it, friend. Maybe it'll become your little ritual too. And when you take that sip, think of me, an old man at 80, still here, still grateful, and still convinced that the right milk can change your life.